letter to God, the title of the story, clearly speaks somebody has written a letter to God, right? Before that, we talk about the author, G.L. Fintus. G.L. Fintus is actually Gregorio Lopez Fintus. G.L. Fintus was a Mexican writer, novelist, a poet, and a journalist. He was born in July 1897 and he died in December 1966. This Mexican novelist, he had written this story after Mexican Revolution. He had met Indian farmers and laborers also, and he had highlighted overall not only Indian farmers or Mexican farmers, he had highlighted in general the farmers' problems in his writings. A Letter to God is one such example. The title is A Letter to God. That clearly suggests that somebody has written a letter to God. Why do you think one would write a letter to God? Yes, Anmol, why do you think one would write a letter to God?
Ma'am, for some solutions of their problems.
Why do they think that God will give some solution to the problem?
Ma'am, because they faith in God that God will help us.
Right, exactly. This is what I wanted you to speak. Wonderful. Because he had faith in God. Right? He had faith in God. And when you have faith in something, in particular in God, that always motivates you. That always gives you hope. And hope is always for the betterment. Right? But what faith we should put in, what we are doing, is it genuine or not? That too, we have to decide. We have faith in God, right? But it should not be a blind faith that we do not understand. Something we expect from the God can actually happen or not. Fine? So A Letter to God is one such story of a farmer whose name was Lincho. Lincho is the name, it's a proper noun. It can be pronounced as Lincho, it can be pronounced as Lancho, it can be pronounced as Lanco, whatever the way, right? He writes a letter to God when his crops are destroyed by a hailstorm. He is very sad. You see that the farmers, the whole year, the farmer grow the crops and he waits for a good harvest. When a good harvest he gets, he sells it in the market and he earns a good price. And that's how he survives. But when his crop is ruined, it is destroyed by nature or due to any other casualty, due to any other reason, he feels as if he has lost everything. He cannot survive now. This is what Lincho had gone through. And when he does not find any hope, then he hopes for the God only, because he had faith in God. He believes that God only can help the man, God only can solve his problem. So he writes a letter to God. So now you will read in the story, when he writes a letter to God, does the letter reach the God? Does the God help him? Or he does not help him? And then how does Lincho he react? This is the story, right? The story you will find full of metaphors. Lot many metaphors have been used in the story. We will read, okay, and then we will discuss also. Fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this story also suggests sparse little population in Mexico, just as Lencho was the only one living in the entire valley. So that suggests that how small population was there. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The house, Lencho's house, where he lived, that was the only one in the entire valley. Lencho was living in a valley. In the whole valley, there was only one house that belonged to Lencho. This house was situated on the crest. On the crest is on the top of a low hill. On the crest of a low hill. On the top of a low hill. Metaphorical reference. Crest is, you see that the cock has a red crest. Have you seen?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So that red is the crest. So from there, the writer says the crest of a low hill. The cock wears that crest on the top of his head. So here on the top of the low hill was only one house that belonged to Lencho. From this height, one could see, it was so high that one could easily see the river flowing and the field of ripe corn. His corn crop was ready. He had grown corn and the crop was completely ready, dotted with the flowers, covered with flowers. It was all covered with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The whole crop is covered with the flowers, meaning it is going to yield a very good harvest. It promised, meaning the flowers were the indicators. The flowers suggested that Lencho is going to get a very good harvest this year, very good crop this year. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. He was waiting for the rain. He says his crop was ready and it can be healthier if he gets rain. You see that till today, you know that so much advancement has happened. Science has developed so much, agricultural science has developed so much. Still, you see, all over the world, Anmol, the farmers, they rely on the rain for water. They rely on nature for water. So Lencho also was waiting for the rain. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. The farmers wait for the rain so anxiously that he had that Lencho that day, right from the morning onwards, he did not do anything, but he had been looking towards the sky only, analyzing the weather condition, whether it would rain or not. He knew his fields intimately. He knew his crops. He knew his fields very well, very closely. He knew that his crop was ready. He knew his crop only required rain water. So he was waiting for rain. If it had rained, it would be really good for my crops. This is what he thought. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we are really going to get some water woman. This woman is his wife. He tells his wife, now we are really going to get some water. He finds the change in the weather, change in the sky, what? That the clouds were gathering. He could easily predict, he could easily make out that it would rain. So he tells his wife, now we are hoping that we would get some water, meaning there would be rain. The woman who was preparing supper, supper is?
Ma'am, I don't know.
Supper is dinner. The woman who was preparing supper, the woman who was preparing dinner, his wife, she replied, yes, God willing. If God wishes, if God wants, definitely we are going to have a good rain. The older boys were working in the field, while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all, come for dinner. The dinner was ready, and the mother called her children. The elderly ones, they were busy in farming, and the younger ones, they had been playing. So all of them came in for dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lincho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. They had already started dinner. They were having their meal. And during that time only, Lenchu had predicted, as he had forecasted, it would rain. He felt big drops of rain, that it started raining. He felt it had started raining. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. What do you understand by the mountains of clouds? It is metaphor.
Means so many clouds.
Huge, yes, large clouds, thick clouds. Mountains of clouds meaning thick clouds. Thick clouds are huge clouds, fully loaded with water, right? In the northeast, he could see huge, vast, large, thick clouds that were approaching, that were gathering in the sky. The air was fresh and sweet. It was pleasant air. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. He went out. Lencho could not resist himself. He went out because he wanted to enjoy, he wanted to experience the feeling that it was raining. He wanted to experience the joy of raining. And when he returned, he exclaimed, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. He exclaimed with joy that it has started raining, but they are not raindrops. They are not merely raindrops from the sky. They are not merely raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins falling from the sky. What does it mean? New coins. What does he call as new coins? Yes and more?
Water droplets.
Water droplets, right? Raindrops. Okay. Why does he call them new coins? They are raindrops. Why does he describe them? Why does he refer to them as as new coins? Yes.
I don't know.
Because the rain has started falling, this rain will help the crop grow. It would be healthy crop, and the healthier the crop, the more money he would earn. Isn't it? The healthier the crop, the better harvest, and the more money he would earn. So he says that these raindrops falling from the sky are like new coins. Why? Because if it rains, it is good for the crop will grow healthy, and he would earn good money. He would earn a handsome amount of money. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5s. 10-cent pieces, 10 cent, it is Mexican currency, small currency. So he says big drops are more the money and small drops are less the money. But anyway, whether it drizzles or it rains, it's going to add to his income. Because the more the rain, the better the crops and the more the money he would earn. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. He was so happy, he was so satisfied to see his field that he thought that the field of ripe corn that is covered with its flowers, now it was draped, now it was wrapped in a curtain of rain. When the raindrops were falling on the bed of flowers of his crops, he felt that they were all wrapped, they were all covered with rain. And the rain appeared to him like a wrapping cover, like a cover or like a curtain of the crops. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. It was raining, a normal rain, but soon he realized that strong wind started blowing along with the hailstones. Hailstones, do you know?
Ma'am, huge stones.
Hailstones. Sometimes it rains, and sometimes it rains with hailstones. The small children go out to pick them up.
Snow.
Yes, that is snow. जिसको हम क्या कहते हैं हिंदी में?
Baraf.
Ole.
Ole. Okay.
Right, they are ole. Okay. So then what happened? Hailstones, when hailstones fall, it is called hailstorm. Right? So it started hailstorm and hailstones started falling. Now do you think that Lenchu would be happy?
No, ma'am.
He would not be happy. Why do you think he would not be happy?
Ma'am, because it's a minus temperature for the crops.
Okay.
And crops get damaged.
Right. Now he would not be happy because he knows that these hailstones will destroy, will damage the crop. Now you see that when the hailstones fall, how lot many cars parked in the parking lot, their windshields are smashed, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
The windows in the houses, if they are opened, their window panes are broken by the hailstones. So hailstones or hailstorm, they are destructive. So he was not happy. These truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys exposing themselves to the rain ran out to collect the frozen pearls. And now the hailstones falling, they were looking like new silver coins. And the boys, the young and the old, they were exposing themselves to the rain. They were enjoying being soaked in the rain. And when the hailstones were falling, they just ran out to collect the frozen pearls. What are these frozen pearls?
Ma'am, hailstones.
Hailstones. Why the hailstones have been called frozen pearls?
And because they look like pearls.
Right. Pearls are white. Right. They look like pearls. So the writer has again used a metaphor, frozen pearls, that is calling the hailstones as pearls. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
It's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. Now Lensho was very worried. He was very upset. And he said, now it's getting bad. It's not good for the crop. I hope it passes quickly. He prayed. He prayed that the hailstorm stops. He prayed that the rain stops. And it's good. It would be good. It would be better if it stops quickly. It did not pass quickly. No, it didn't stop. For an hour, the hail rained in the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The whole valley was being affected by this hailstorm. The hailstones were raining on the house, garden, hillside, in every nook and corner, in the entire valley. The field was white, as if covered with salt. The whole field was white because everywhere there could be seen hailstones lying. Because the whole area was covered with the hailstones, white hailstones, which make him feel as if it was covered with white salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. All the leaves, they also shed down because of the pressure of the hailstones. No leaf was left on the trees. The trees were bereft of the leaves. There were no leaves. The corn was totally destroyed. The crop of the corn that was almost ready, that also was completely destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. The flowers that were growing, and he was happy to see the flowers, that they were looking like a curtain, right? Now those flowers, they had also shed off because they were also destroyed by the hailstorm. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. He was very sad. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, when the storm stopped, then he went to his field and he stood in the midst of his field, in the midst of the corn crop, and he called his sons. And he says, a plague of locusts would have left more than this, and the hail has left nothing. Locust, do you know? You must have seen.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Locust is a fly, an insect that,
Yes.
that destroys the crops. Right? So the farmers, they always make arrangements before the season, before the weather, when there is a fear that the locust would attack the crops and destroy them. So they take some measures to keep them away. But the damage done by the hailstorm was so much that the author has compared this damage with the damage caused by the locust. Lencho says even locust would not destroy the crop as much as these hails they have caused. This year we will have no corn. Now he was very anxious. Now he was very worried, very sad that this year they would not have any corn. If there is no corn, then how would they survive the whole year? The whole year, once in a year, the farmer sells his crops, and then for the whole year he earns the money. And if he doesn't have the crops, he would not be able to earn the money, and how would he survive? So it was but natural for him to be sad. That night was a sorrowful one. Which night was sorrowful one?
Hailstorm's night.
Right. The night when there was a hailstorm. All our work for nothing. What does it mean? All our work for nothing.
Ma'am, means Lencho did so many hard work for their
Right.
for their
Yes.
crops, but in the end, he did get nothing.
Right. All that hard work has gone wasted. Right? He was very sad. He told his son that all the hard work that he had done throughout the year, it has gone wasted because he could not yield the crops. There is no one who can help us. He thought that who will he ask to help? No one can help him. We'll all go hungry this year. And then he thought that the whole year they would have nothing to eat because the farmers, they depend upon the crops and the crops have been destroyed. They will not be able to earn money. And they will not be able to earn, he will not be able to earn money. So it would be a difficult time for him. How will he survive? He was anxious, he was worried about himself, his family, his children. Now let us see what Lencho does for himself. Clear? Now there are the questions. Just see these questions. What did Lencho hope for?
Lencho hoped for stop the hailstorms.
No, first he hoped for
Rain.
rain. Right? He hoped for rain. Why did Lencho say the raindrops were like new coins?
Because because rain will help on the growth of crops and crop will give earning and money to the Lencho.
Right. He called them new coins because the raindrops would help the crops grow faster, and healthier the crop will bring him more the money. How did the rain change?
Rain changed into hailstorms.
Right. What happened to Lancho's field?
Lencho's field get destroyed.
They were destroyed. What were Lancho's feelings when the hail stopped?
He was feeling so worried and anxious about their earning for the whole year.
Very good, very good, perfect. Right? That's all. And the rest we shall continue the next week. Fine?